Trusts are one of the most powerful and most misunderstood legal tools available to everyday people building wealth. And if you've ever felt confused by them, that confusion is costing you. We're talking about a framework so versatile that over 77 distinct types exist in the United States alone. And yet most people go their entire lives never using one. Let's slow down and actually understand what a trust is at its core, because the concept is simpler than the legal jargon makes it sound. Think of a trust like a rule book for your money. You write the rules, you name the players, and the game keeps going even after you leave the room. Every single trust, no matter how complex, is built on three roles: the grantor, who creates and funds it, the trustee, who manages it, and the beneficiary, who ultimately receives the benefit. That's it. Three people, one private legal agreement. And suddenly, your assets have a roadmap that doesn't require a courtroom to execute. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because all 77 of those trust types collapse into just two categories: revocable and irrevocable. And knowing the difference changes everything about how you plan. A revocable trust is like a pencil drawing. You can erase it, change it, take assets in and out while you're alive. An irrevocable trust is more like a tattoo. Once it's done, it's done. But the protection and tax advantages you get in return can be extraordinary. Most people hear irrevocable and immediately panic, picturing themselves signing away control of everything they've ever worked for. But here's the irony: giving up legal ownership of certain assets can actually protect them far better than holding them directly ever could, especially from creditors, lawsuits, or estate taxes. The reason trusts feel so confusing is because the financial industry has done a spectacular job of making them seem like something only wealthy dynasties use. Old money families with wood-paneled libraries and last names on hospital wings. But that narrative is outdated, and frankly, it's a little insulting to the millions of middle-class families who could absolutely benefit from this structure right now. Historically, trusts have been used for everything from charitable giving to protecting a child with special needs to making sure a family farm doesn't get liquidated when the next generation inherits it. The charitable remainder trust, the special needs trust, the dynasty trust, each one is essentially a custom-built solution for a specific life situation, and that's what makes this category of planning so powerful. Here's a pattern worth noting. Most people who skip trust planning do so not because they decided against it, but because they never fully understood what they were opting out of. Probate, the court-supervised process of distributing your estate, is public, slow, and expensive. And a simple revocable living trust bypasses it entirely, keeping your family's affairs private and your assets moving without delay. Let's address the biggest misconception head-on. Trusts are not just for the ultra-wealthy, and setting one up is not nearly as complicated or expensive as most people assume. Once structured correctly, a trust can protect your home, your investments, your business interests, and your legacy in ways that a simple will simply cannot. The practical lesson history keeps teaching us is this: the families who build lasting wealth across generations are not necessarily the ones who earned the most. They're the ones who structured things intentionally. Discipline in planning, appropriate sizing of what goes into a trust versus what stays outside of it, and consistent review of that structure as life changes, that's the actual formula. You don't need to have everything figured out before you start. And waiting for the perfect moment to set up a trust is how decades go by without one. Start with the right question. Not, do I need a trust? But which trust aligns with what I'm trying to accomplish and protect? And the beautiful thing about this framework is that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a modular system. Want to leave money to a cause you care about while generating income during your lifetime? A charitable remainder trust does exactly that. Want to make sure your grandchildren have access to funds for education without giving a 22-year-old a lump sum to blow? A generation-skipping trust handles it. At its philosophical core, trust planning is really just an act of intention. It's deciding that what you build in your lifetime deserves a thoughtful transition, not a chaotic one. The people who benefit most from these tools aren't the ones with the most assets. They're the ones who took the time to understand the options and acted with clarity. Whatever your situation looks like today, whether you own one property or 10, whether your estate is modest or substantial, the right structure exists for your goals, and the cost of not knowing is always higher than the cost of getting educated. Discipline, proper sizing, and consistency in your planning process matter far more than waiting until everything feels certain. And if you're ready to take the next step, whether that's real estate investing, home contracting work, or finding the right lenders to support your vision, check out our links in the description below and let's get you started.